All right, everyone, we're here with Coach Mauro after another W for the Dodgers, and we just wanted to get a few words about Sal, because at first, from coach to coach, I want to tell you how much our family appreciates you, because as you know, my wife talked to you at the beginning of the season. Sal was ready to not play baseball again. He didn't get along too well with the last coach, and he was just completely ready to throw in the towel. And after, a long heart-to-hearts between my wife, him, and myself, he agreed to just go to tryouts and meet you and get to know you. And you saw him from that point. Mm-hmm. So what's your assessment of having coached a kid like that from that point in his journey in baseball?
Well, I mean, I could take it kind of from the beginning, and this is, it's just, I wouldn't say it's a coincidence, but during the tryouts is when I first met Sal. I actually literally just saw him standing there in the dugout, and he was just standing there. All the other kids were kind of warming up, and he was just standing there, and I walked over to him. I didn't know who he was, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
and I told him, I said, hey, dude, I'm like, why don't you go warm up? And he's like, well, I don't know. He's like, I don't have anyone to warm up with. I said, just go out there, say, hey, play catch with me. He ended up going out there, and he just seemed, of course, I didn't know anything about him, but I just wanted him to go out there and just join the kids, and that was the first time I ever met Sal. After the tryouts, he still had, I guess, a little bit of doubt that you mentioned about him not wanting to play.
Right.
And I actually talked to him, and I told him, I'm like, listen, if you had one bad experience, it doesn't mean you give up.
Right.
It doesn't mean you quit. I'm like, just because you lose one game doesn't mean you just stop playing because you lost one game. You have to keep going. If it's something that you like and it's something that you want to do, just do it. Don't let the past dictate what you want to do now.
Right.
And so I was surprised. I'm surprised I drafted him during the draft for when we're picking our teams, and I just wanted to show him that, if you like something, keep doing it,
right,
regardless.
Don't give up.
No, don't give up. And so at that point, I kind of made it my mission with him to let him see, like, hey, we're gonna have fun. We're not gonna do whatever happened last season or whatever happened last year.
Yeah.
And at that point, he kind of started coming out of his shell a little bit.
Right.
And I said, hey, who wants to learn how to catch? Because we had 0 catchers.
Yes.
And Sal was like, I'll do it.
So he volunteered. He put the hand up.
Yep, he volunteered. He volunteered to
That's
do
dope.
it. And, he every game, he started getting better and better, adjusting to everything. And he was just, it was just so surprising how a kid that, weeks ago didn't want to play, and all of a sudden he's thriving in a position he's never played in his life.
And I'll say, again, as an observation, as a coach myself, you have a really good pitcher. Julian is like a once-in-a-league type of player.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's easy for any kid to catch him. Never mind a kid that came from that kind of position.
Yeah.
But you were able to develop Sal to where I saw that I felt like they had a good chemistry.
They did, absolutely. So, like I said, every game he just kept getting progressively better, especially with Julian pitching the kids. He throws fireballs.
Yeah.
And
that kid throws dots.
Yes. and every game he started getting better and better. It was like they were building that chemistry. He knew where he was going. He knew how to catch his balls. He knew exactly what to do if the ball got past him.
That's awesome.
And so it was just like when it all went down, when I got that dreaded phone call or message.
Yeah. We're going to get to that next.
Yeah. Okay, well, we won't get to that then. Needless to say, I wanted to see how much of an improvement had he gone and played even today.
It was looking really good. And then, one fateful Saturday night, he was riding his bike a little too late. And ends up breaking his wrist. And I can't imagine. I've had fighters have injuries. Students of mine, boxers, and it's a gut punch. Am I right?
Absolutely. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? That was my first thought. I'm like, what am I going to do?
You really felt he was that essential to your
absolutely,
to the makeup?
Because he was the only one, number one, that stepped up to want to catch. He's the only one that was catching because no one else really wanted to, didn't know how to.
Yeah.
And so obviously when I lost him, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. Obviously, we play the next man up mentality, but
Right.
we had really, and it was against this team
Yeah.
that we were going to play, our little revenge game, I'll call it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have 24 hours to figure out who is going to take Sal's place.
Wow.
So we held the practice, and I said, everybody's going to put on the gear, and
Yeah,
we're
give
going
it
to
a
see
shot.
who's going to give us the best shot. And, we've had a couple of kids step up. They're doing a good job again for never catching, but Salvador definitely was the number one at the time, and I can imagine now, even these last few weeks, if he'd have continued to play, where he'd be at right now.
It would have been awesome if we would have been able to get him back in before the end of season.
Absolutely. Actually, when he came in the dugout, I did tell him, I was like, hey, go grab the gear.
Just out of instinct.
I didn't see a cast on. I was like, go grab the gear.
All right, Coach. Well, again, as a family, we appreciate you so much. I mean, you've done wonders for him. I went to a couple practices, and he was playful. He was, really finding his personality, and he wouldn't have got there without you. And I think that if he does decide to continue his journey in baseball, you're definitely the priority.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Grab ball to first base. Boom, out. Good job.